Greetings, greetings, grand rising. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Welcome to another amazing day. A day when we have to commit to ourselves, to embrace it, and to live each day to the fullest. I do invite everyone who is with me to join me in stating this affirmation, and then I'll come back and we will start. On this day, I, Daphne, state your name, do commit to showing up in all of my authenticity. I am showing up with my intentions set to renew my mind. I am committed to do the work as needed to transform my life and heal every and all ancestral traumas that I have been nurturing. As I state this, I know that it will be done, and so it is. Thank you for participating in the affirmation. Get your water. We'll be doing the water therapy later on. And for those of you that are new and you don't know who I am, I'm Dr. Daphne Clarke-Hudson. I am a spiritual healer. I am your why and soul purpose coach, consultant, facilitator, and mentor. I am also an ancestral healer. I am also a Reiki practitioner. And you are probably thinking, these are something new. Yes, because for the past month, I have been in training to be a Reiki, a Kundalini Reiki practitioner. So I'm almost completed. And I am claiming it because that's the service that I will be offering to you as well. For this conversation this morning, we are going to be talking about understanding ancestral traumas and how do we heal them. All right? So sit back, be open and receptive to start your healing process by learning what this means. All right? So, I am also going to be sharing the story of Dale M. Kushner. because I think Dale's story is so in sync and in line with ancestral trauma. And I think by learning some of the pointers from Gail's story, you and I will understand more about our ancestral traumas and what we need to do in order to heal from them. I will share Dale's story later on in the conversation. What's ancestral trauma? Ancestral traumas are the unworked legacies of those who have died. This might include unsolved life stories, family secrets, resentment, or other injuries that never had a chance to heal. The scientific fields, epigenetic, bears out that these unprocessed life stories can influence our future generation in the form of inherited tendencies to similar kinds of stress, anxiety, and psycho-emotional issues. The term transgenerational trauma is much the same thing. All right? I know you're all accustomed to mentioning about generational curses and all of that. However, not too many people delve into understanding ancestral traumas and know that we can heal them. Our ancestors expect us to heal them in our lifetime, because as we heal them in our lifetime, we are relieving them from the responsibility. So, as I continue to do my studies and to understand more about why I was sent on this divine assignment, I am learning so much more, and in some areas affirming. And this is why I want to say to you, please do not wait until you're ready for an information to use it. Every day you wake up, do something pertaining to your inner work. Good morning, Jennifer. Do something that pertains to your inner work, because guess what? Many of us are struggling, and and we are sometimes thinking that, oh, people are doing this to us and people are doing that to us. The truth is that we were left with these traumas that we need to address so that we can heal ourselves and heal our children and our children's children. So we have work to be done. You hear people saying it doesn't matter, I work day in and day out. I can't save money. I can't this, and all the lists, the long list of things that we often said that we can't do, and we do this and we do that and the other. For some, it is in relationships, and the list goes on. All those things are caused by ancestral traumas. I'm sure the Spirit just laid this one in my thought. I am sure that there are some of you who know people that are into domestic violence. And you're always saying, oh, I don't know why she always with these men that abuse her. And for some, men are being abused by women too. And we sometimes say, but they always choose those type of people. It goes deeper than them just choosing. It is part of their ancestral trauma that they need to heal. So not until you do the inner work are you going to be able to do the work. This thing runs deep like the root in the trees, because everything looks good. The top is nice and green, but when you look, the roots dig so deep. And no matter what you do, you can't get a break. It is because you are not addressing the ancestral traumas that is in our lives. And I'm saying our because many of us has to deal with that situation. All right? Bear with me. I'm working with my notes. Because this is how important this is. We're going to talk about intergenerational trauma. There is one more thing I wanted to share. Let me see if I find it. Inherited physical traumas. Wait, there is one thing I had mentioned about the tree. I want to find, because that is so important, and I wanted to show you so you can have the visual. You can have the visual. You see this? You see that tree? You see how beautiful and green the top of the tree is? And that's how the root that you see that goes down, that is what many of us are living with. The traumas that go down there, and we are not doing the healing to help us live the life that we are supposed to live. Listen, there is no shame about it. There is work to be done, and we got to get committed to doing the work. All right? So let let me move along here and find the important points that I want to discuss this morning with each and every one of you. Ancestral healing is an ancient and currently burgeoning field that is based upon the premise that consciousness continue after death. After we pass from this world, regardless of our age or station, our bodies return to the earth, but our non-corporeal self continues to travel in non-visible realms, ultimately passing into an ancestral plane. Most spiritual traditions in the world agree that the ancestors, those who are no longer in the physical world, are able to tie us to here on earth for better and sometimes for worse. You know, many of us in the Western world, we do not pay too much attention to that. We know that folks who are in other continents of the world, they understand about the relationship between our ancestors and we ourselves. And folks who are committed to doing that type of work are sometimes labeled. And I don't have to get into all of the labels that ignorant people tend to use. We owe it to ourselves to study everything about who we are as a human soul. And yes, I'm just receiving that. For many of us, when we understand about getting into the healing of these ancestral traumas, not only are we healing ourselves, but we are healing our children and our children's children. Many of the kids who are taking these medications for all of these different things that they are misdiagnosed about, once we, as their elders, as their parents, so long as we address our ancestral traumas, we are going to be helping our family, our children, and also our grandchildren. Okay, my apologies. I just glanced on my other platform and saw a distraction I had to take care of, because we live out of life believing that our ancestors said it crippled our generation. Okay? All right. So moving right along. Let's talk about collective trauma. Collective trauma is the residue of extreme life circumstances that occurs historical. It is also known as historical trauma. In other terms, collective trauma, it continues to affect not only individuals, but groups, ethnicities, cultures, nations. You know, in this country, where I am based now, we see that each and every day from the top to the bottom. There are certain areas that, although they are not calling it ancestral traumas, but in certain ethnic groups, every day you wake up and you begin to have a conversation, the description of collective trauma is what they're talking about. They talk about what other members of society owe them, what they were robbed from, and for their entire life, they'll have that conversation. And because they have been speaking so much into that situation, that is what continues to plague them. It magnifies and magnifies and magnifies. I remember working in a certain city in Connecticut. And when I begin to have conversation, my position was to work with the families, to develop the families. And when I began working there, I realized that people was, but let me just go ahead and say it. I worked at the housing authority. And my job there was not as a housing staff, but as an empowerment person to work with the families and the children. And when I would get into the homes to visit, I realized, why are these people living in housing? These people can afford to own a home for themselves. Yet when I get deep into the conversation, I realize they have 3-4 generations that has lived there. And they could not fathom the idea of moving out and buying a home for themselves. And I realized this is a curse. At that time, I didn't say that. But what I did, I began working with area banks and mortgage company to come in and do monthly seminars. And during my time there, I was able to encourage some people to buy homes and to move out of there. Had I known what I know now, not only would I be working on the home buyer seminars and workshops, I would also have worked with them around their ancestral traumas, and I would have helped them to heal. And because some of those people have become part of my social media. There are some of them who are still part of my Facebook community. I am still blessed that they are part of my community, and now I'll be able to offer them to heal. Can you imagine what their lives will be looking like now? I am so excited about this new assignment that I am on. I am so excited of all of the knowledge and information that is coming to me. I'm excited that I said yes. I am excited that I made myself vulnerable. I am excited that I say yes. No longer will I be held hostage around religion. I'm going to open up myself to learning all that there is so that I can help the world on a broader level. Let me tell you something. This new journey, it's not easy. There are some people I will leave behind, and that's all right. But now that I've seen the light, and to see how many people's life depends on me, there is no going back. I am out of the closet and I am not going back, because I have just been scratching the surface, and to see why is it the universe said to me, my people need you. All of the 62 years that I suppressed what I suppressed, and the little that I had learned over the 62 years is becoming useful now, because you know what? It is helping me to be more willing to learn and to open up. And every day, whatever the Spirit gives me that I need to learn is showing up. Showing up. It's either showing up in a phone call, an email, an invitation to speak on something, a book, a new relationship. Back in December, I wasn't thinking about I have to study Reiki, but the universe brought it and said, yes, this is part of what you're going to use to heal the people from their ancestral trauma. The people that you are going to be healing is not only in Florida, they're not only in Connecticut, they are in different regions of the world. And the Kundalini Reiki is what you are going to reach out to them to heal them through. Just talking about it, it gives me the chills. Just talking about it gives me the chills. But you know what? I am unapologetically accepting the responsibility. Yes, I might not for everybody, but I will be. I am for the right person. Yes, there are some of you who will no longer care to break bread with me, but it's okay. So long as you will even listen from a distance so that you can heal yourself and your children and your children and your community. So long as you make that commitment, you don't have to hang around with me. Just do what it is you are called to do. and set your family, your community, your generation free. Okay. Yeah, I just mentioned about the as I was doing the research, it says one example of the collective trauma. As I was doing the research, it says one example is the African American community, whose ancestors were abducted, shackled, and forced for centuries of slavery. We might say that their ancestors' training trauma is also collective trauma that still begins work through intergenerationally and lives in their lives and into the life of their offspring as in the life of the African American society. So, I tell you, it gives me the chills. As I'm studying and reading, it gives me the chills. I mentioned about Dale Kushner's briefly, Dale Kushner's story, and now I am going to share it. Dale Kushner, briefly, what is ancestral healing? Ancestral healing is an ancient and currently, oh, I shared that with you guys already. Dale continues to say, what why is worse? Generally speaking, ancestors wish to play a beneficial role in their living offspring. Their job is to guide and care for their living, I need glasses so I can see. Progeny, assisting them assisting them to remain in the life and flourish them. But because the deep residue of our lives continue to reverberate after death, it is not only our ancestors' wisdom, but their unprocessed traumas that affects their next of kin. That's what I mentioned about, well, the children and children. Ancestral healing is the generating of wisdom, guidance, and blessings of the will and wise ancestors, and then with their support, helping to resolve and repair the unhealed wounds of those who are not yet well and wise. Are you all hearing? I read one more statement that Dale Kushner says. Is ancestral trauma inherited, transgenerational, and intergenerational trauma the same thing? Not if. If not, how are they different? Because, please clarify. And then Dale spoke about collective trauma, which I already shared. In other words, Dale says all of these terms are related. So whether you call them generational curses or traumas or stuff, it's the same thing, one of the same. You are reverbed. This is Dale Kushner. He's a reverb. He is. I need me some glasses. Lord, I can't even see. He's a reverend rabbi as well as a Jungian analyst. What led you to ancestral work? I am a second generation Holocaust survivor. My mother escaped the Nazi Germany in 1939, leaving behind scores of relatives who were murdered in unconditional ways. Even though she never spoke of them, I felt the reverberations of the family's unprocessed shock, grief, and trauma. Ultimately, this led me to uncover the family history, and then as a rabbi and psychologist to study the effects of collective trauma in my people and far beyond. And that's where I will end this conversation. And I encourage you. There is so much information on the internet. There are so many books that you can study. And all I can say in ending this broadcast this morning, I'm so grateful that the universe has called me and assigned me to tap into my real work of why I am called here. Allow me to be vulnerable. In the beginning, I had my doubts. But then Spirit sat me down and dealt with me and let me know that this work is not about me. It's not about me. You said yes when we inform you that you need to move from Connecticut. You said yes. Now you need to sit down and learn whatever else you need to learn about this assignment. Thank you. You need to sit down and learn. And let me tell you something. It's not been easy for me to be sitting down, because I'm always accustomed to be busy doing my coaching. You hearing me? But Spirit said, no, this is the part you need to learn. That is the part you need to learn. You need to get these books. You need to do this training. And the people are just rising up. The people are rising up. The people that I need to have as my coaches, as my mentor, as my spiritual teacher are rising up. People from way over in South Africa. I am glad that I said yes. And I don't know what it is that you need to say yes to, but the one thing I'm telling you, you need to get out of your traditional way of life. Turn the TV off. Get some books. If you don't feel like going to the bookstore to buy them, go to the library and buy them, because you know you got work to be done. You have work to be done. All right, kindly get your water and let's do the water therapy. Bless your water. I am blessing this water. As you all know, water is energy. And whatever else that we do need from this water, whatever we need for it to do for us. Hey, Isaac, let your request be known. Meditate, pray, whatever it is you need to do. Okay, have you blessed your water? Now let's drink. Yes. I want to thank those of you on Facebook and YouTube and everywhere else. I encourage you, go out there and get the information, learn more about it. And once you begin to learn and see the importance of your ancestral healing, it is my intention that you will reach out to me and allow me to guide you on the healing process. You owe it not only to yourself, but to your generation. We got to set our children and our children free. What? The buck stops here. So let us get this work done. I love you guys, and I will see you tomorrow morning. And get busy. Turn the TV off and start to learn about ancestral healing. Why? because you deserve it. You are welcome, Jen. All right, guys, I'm ending here and I'm coming over there.